So before I begin today's video, I first like to say happy celebration to Chris Paul. In the year Chris Paul started all 82 games and made some NBA history. Paul in Paul with the San Antonio Spurs starting lineup for their season finale Sunday, making him the first player to make 82 starts this deep into his career. The previous mark was held by John Stockton, who started all 82 games in his 19th and final season. Paul, who has turned 40 less than a month, is one of the three players to have a season with 82 appearances at his age. Stockton did it in the same season. He turned 39 and 40. Michael Jordan turned 39 in his final season while playing all 82 games. It's crazy, Paul said. I was talking to my wife about this. When you're sort of in it, you really don't think about it like that. Okay. Games. 30. Okay. Games. 40 something. It's games. Such and such. Okay. So congratulations to Chris Paul on this extraordinary achievement. By the way, belated congratulations go to and I know I mentioned this on several videos. Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double. Also, congratulations to LeBron James and his longevity. And I think this is extraordinary. It should be documented in NBA history. And it just goes to show, with today's players, with with the medication, healthcare, nutrition, the science, the technology is really extending longevity to a lot of players. And I think NBA players are reaping these benefits. Even though you see it, you've been seeing it in Major League Baseball. When you look at the NHL, they've been doing it. The NFL, depending on position, you can extend your career on an NFL level. But when it comes to the National Basketball Association, you just got many upon many cases of players, playing past their 30s, playing in their 40s. Okay. Dare I say, it's going to be a day where you're going to see a player play beyond their late 40s into their early 50s. So, this just goes to show how this world is just changing. The technology, the medication, the nutrition, the science, the prescriptions, all that stuff. I'm talking about the legal stuff, not the illegal stuff. Okay. But yeah, congratulations is in order. And I hate to say and but another thing that a lot of people are not taking, I think a lot of people take this for granted. If you look how NBA basketball has changed, and it might change for some people for the better, and it might change for the worse, but nevertheless, it's changed. Today, how they play basketball is light years different than how they played it in the 90s. I'm not even going to talk about the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Just from the 90s through, even the 2000s. How they're playing basketball now than how they was playing 10, 15 years ago, it's just like life years. I mean, it's just like a whole new world. And it's large part of the components I just mentioned in the video, but it's another component that no one's really factoring in is how they play the game, how the rules have changed. Even though in the 80s, I say in the well, more in the 90s, uh, there's no hand checking. A lot of coaches are not, implementing schemes on the defensive end. You don't have to fight through a lot of screens or pick and rolls. It's literally almost a half court game, and you're running back and forth, and it takes seconds to run back and forth. So the way how the game is played now is light years different than how it was played back in the 90s. And the 90s is not that long ago, folks. The 2000s are not that long ago. But how they play the game now is extraordinarily different than how they're playing it, 10 years ago. And I don't think a lot of people put that in as a factor. Now, how big of a factor that is up to the people out there. I think it's 50-50. Stuff I just mentioned, plus how they play the game. The game is not demanding. You don't. There's not a lot of practices. Defense. You don't spend a lot of time and energy on defense. The way how the game is structured and played, and how the rules and how they officiate the game is different. It's more of a shooter's mentality league. Uh, Now, I do feel like there's a lot of people out there that, in the ratings show, you just look at the numbers. Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't. A lot of people are, the ratings are low. If you look at TV ratings, now will that change in the playoffs? Will that change in the finals? I don't know, but I don't have a lot of data proving me otherwise because of last year. But when you look at today's basketball, it's quite easy, and I hate to use this word, but it doesn't. Let's not say easy. It doesn't shock me nor surprise me if there's a basketball player playing 20 years and being consistently average or good. And it would not surprise me none if there's a player that will play in their late 40s or early 50s. That would not shock me, because how they play the game, the rules, and all the advancements with science, medication, and nutrition, health. It would not shock me if a player would play in their late 40s or early 50s. It would not shock me nor surprise me if LeBron plays another 5 years. It's not a shock. It's not a surprise. Is it an achievement on a personal level? Yes, an achievement. But if you look at how players are today, they're already pushing the narrative that this is ultimately possible. It's not impossible. It's possible. Okay, so. But congratulations to Chris Paul. I know Gilbert Arenas said some harsh words about Chris Paul. Chris Paul has, I think Chris Paul legacy, I wish, I guarantee you the older heads like Gilbert Arenas wish that they had advancements like this in medication and science and in technology, how the rules change and benefit offensive players. Gilbert Arenas would love, I think Gilbert Arenas will be playing past his 20s, because he had the ability to score, and if he didn't have to worry about defense, well, and no, it's a two. Well, really, Gilbert Arenas kind of, cut his legacy with the, stuff that he was into or involved with. But if he didn't have that, Gilbert Arenas would have played beyond what he played. And I understand that everyone's being critical of Chris Paul, but hey, I give it credit on a personal level. But as far as this is an amazing feat or amazing achievement, and this will never be done. I don't believe that unless there's some serious changes in how they play the game, how they officiate the game. Uh, you will see players play beyond their 30s and 40s, and you may see a couple of players play past that. So yeah, I mean, you got Russell Westbrook, who a lot of people say is not a spot up shooter, spot up jumper. You can't depend on him on as far as a 3-point game. But for Russell Westbrook to still play in the National Basketball Association with all of those things I just listed and still have a job, still have longevity to still play in this league, that should speak in volumes. Should speak in volumes. But, hey, that's all I got for today. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.